What do you do with adult bullies? You try and figure out what is it in an adult bully, a long time bully, when it doesn't respond to human contact, when it doesn't respond to questions about, what is going on with you. If you're Robin Williams and you're acting like a psychiatrist, and this is a movie about a long term person who's just a bully, and you don't have a file on the person, you don't even have the person, all you've got is the person's pattern. And the person's pattern is very blank. It's a very blank thing. It's just a repeat, repeat, repeat. They just keep acting like a ghoul. It's just a mental body. It's no emotion. It's a mental body, and the mental body is just nothing but inflicting pain on other people. There's no empathy, there's no compassion, so it's a mental body without an emotional body. And the Course in Miracles, apparently what it says is that there's only two emotions. There's love or a cry for love. Someone who's got a mental body but no emotional body is crying for an emotional body. How do you give someone an emotional body? Uh, it's not that the question is incorrect, because every being has all these things, and saying, I'm going to give you an emotional body. No, it's innate. It's innate. In other words, it's just like the people that say, I want a chip implanted in my brain so I can be hooked up to the internet. You don't need a chip implanted in your brain in order to be connected to all that is. You're already connected. Adding all these kinds of things to your natural divinity is it's a mess. It's a mess. So if you've got someone who's acting like a permanent bully, they're a mess. And the mess, it's not something it's an act. All you can say is that someone who's got an intense bullying personality is an act. And you can wait and hold space for them. See when they're going to come around to the fact that, that they're acting like a bully. But what happens in the meantime when the bully is causing mayhem? In some cultures, what they do with someone who's a repeated criminal is they talk to the person and they tell them about whatever good they've ever done. And they keep reminding them that you're not the hate. And whatever the act is an act. Of course, if you don't have a file on the person, you have no idea what good they've ever done. Then you're kind of not in a bind. You're basically in a trap set by the mental mind of the person acting like a ghoul. So it's a cry for attention. How do you protect the other people who are being bullied when you've got a bully who is intransigent, intransient, a bully that is just. And if the bully is not readily available to you, they are hidden behind a wall. So they are basically protected from you getting a hold of them and giving them a hug, giving them a massage. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's a need of the bully for physical love. And the bully has walled themselves off. What do you do with a case like that? It reminds me of the US military and their drones. The drone operators have walled themselves off from not only from their victims, but they've walled themselves off from their own emotions. And this is what happens with people of all ages who play video games that are highly violent. Basically, the shoot 'em up video games, and I used to play them years ago. It's There's no feeling in these games about what it is that you're killing. Just the enemy. And there's no feeling of loss when, the video game says casualty or enemy eliminated. The problem with video games for children is that the adult guardians and parents don't watch what the children are doing. And in some cases, children play these video games for years and years. Things like World of Warcraft, for example, Minefield. I don't know what Minefield is about, but I know a child that's played it for literally 6 years on and off. In the old days of playing board games, I played board games with my friends. We played Monopoly. When someone won the game of Monopoly, I don't think we played Monopoly over and over again. It would be like a game of Monopoly, and then it might be put away for a few weeks. If we were playing cards, we'd play a game of cards, and then we'd change the game of cards up. Sometimes we played several games. What are the lessons of board games? Well, it's camaraderie. So in some ways, I mean, even if you're playing against another person, it's the feeling of we're doing something together. If you're playing a video game and it's just you against a bunch of other computer generated characters or a bunch of other people that you're plugged into via the internet, does it make you feel like you're belonging to something? With a bully, do they feel like they're belonging because they've got a job to do? If you're a drone operator and you're targeting things and people by remote control, does it make you feel like you're part of something? You know, I'm part of the US military and we're taking out the bad guys. And what about the mistakes? You know, when you're told this was a bad guy that you were tracking, and then later on you discover, oh, we killed a number of people. It was, collateral damage. From time to time, I've wondered about the human attempt to eradicate parasites. In the 1950s, they used a DDT and they sprayed it in the cities. They sprayed it everywhere they could in order to kill mosquitoes. It seems like I've got like a repeat going on. I said mosquitoes. It's like I got something going on when I'm talking. It's not me voluntarily, where I've got a skip in my voice. What I've got going on is I've got a skip. Not a skippy or a skipper, I got a skip. Someone named Skip is around, and Skip is inside of me. Skip's job is to just, put a skip into my voice. And a skip into my step? No, just a skip into my voice. Yesterday I was playing an old-fashioned record player, and there was a skip in the record. What happens with a skip in the record is the needle comes to a place in the groove in the vinyl, and there's a damage in the groove in the vinyl. It's just like they call it a scratch, and instead of the needle traveling through where the groove was, the the groove is damaged, and the needle keeps going around in a circle instead of going around in a spiral. That's what a skip is doing. It's going around in a circle. It keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. It's supposed to be spiraling. It's supposed to be spiraling towards advancement. Skip has got an issue. And how do you fix Skip's scratch in his record? Maybe if you think of a military record, you basically got a record of everything you've done. You've got your commanding officers that have been putting comments in on your record. And what if they put in a really bad report? Skip's had a bad report at one time, and his record is marred. How do you ever fix Skip's record if you got someone that put something nasty in there? Said that Skip was guilty of cowardice, or Skip was guilty of incompetence. It's a judgment of the commanding officer who wrote that in. It's a judgment call. And why does the commanding officer put these things in there? It's to cover their own ass. I was in command, but someone I was leading failed. This is the whole issue with CEOs of corporations. With the Donald Trump, the Donald is basically saying to all the humans around the planet, by his constant firing of his staff, I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible for what's going on in my administration. I've got a bunch of people that I hire and I say they're totally wonderful, And then a few months later, I say, "You're fired." And then I tell the world they were assholes. Donald Trump doesn't take responsibility and he doesn't do any leadership. And he is typical of so many, I want to say corporations, but Skip says it's not corporations, it's humans in general. Humans in general don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to. If they were responsible, it would mean. See, I'm having trouble getting past this point. If they were responsible, they would be able to respond. Responsibility doesn't mean taking fault for what happened. Responsibility is able to respond to what happened and say, okay, I learned something from this. What did you learn from this? Everything went south. It's kind of a, in the vernacular, it means everything went wrong. If humans don't have free will, then all they're doing is watching the thing that they are told that they are, a human body, go about its day and witnessing what the thoughts are and what the emotions are, everything to do with the human body. Why do I say this? Pretty much that's the way I feel when I'm the silent awareness watching everything that I'm aware of. And without free will, I've got something automatic going on with me. I meditate all the time, and when I'm not, sitting in a quiet meditation, I'm watching what happens. And I'm telling you, the human body goes on and does what it does automatically without any input from me. The thoughts come, the thoughts go. The emotions come, the emotions go. The people around me come, the people around me go. Everything is automatic. If there is such thing as free will, where is my free will? It seems like it's the free will of something else. Is there some other kind of being? I was talking in a talk the other day about the word being present. It's mindfulness. But if you're in the present, who pre-sent the now? The now you're experiencing, who presented it? I don't have an answer. But what I'm telling you, the main reason you have to let go of whatever is going on around you is because you don't have any say in what's going on. You don't have any will. All you have is a watching what's going on. And the illusion that you are a human body, the illusion that you are the thinking, the illusion that you are the emotions. All you can do is watch. And to a certain extent, you can feel what's going on with the body. Does that solve the problem of the bully? What happens when my body, I watch it? And what happens when my body doesn't say thank you after a nice dinner? If I can't force the body to say thank you, I just watch it. Sometimes I'll have a thought like, body, why don't you say thank you to the person who just made you dinner? I don't get an answer. If we are living in the matrix and all of us are simply pieces of awareness, aware of this matrix game going on around us, it's a pointless game. Who presented us into the matrix? And who's going to get us out of the matrix? The answer is it's a big puzzle. It's not a reality game, it's a puzzle, because if you don't have the ability to get information about what it is that's going on around you, what is the nature of the matrix, what is the nature of your day-to-day experience that you watch and that you're given to believe is you, but it ain't you. Is there God? Is there some supreme being that is using you as a little toy that goes, around and around, like the game The Sims? Yes, the answer is yes. There is a supreme being called Sippy Cup. And Sippy Cup's game is, I'm going to be your captain, and I'm going to order you to play World of Warcraft all day so that your brain gets. No, it's not going to help. There is no way to get to the root of what it is that's going on in our simulated reality on planet Earth. You feel, right now, what I feel in the body is pain in the pelvis. It's ache in the bones. I feel the presence of other bullies around me. I feel an upset stomach. I feel these other bullies making breathing noises that they're using to intimidate me. In the case of the drone operator working for the U.S. Army or the U.S. Air Force, or whoever runs the drone program, what's going on with the person who's being tracked, who's, who they're planning to assassinate? Do they know they're being targeted? Are they using some kind of propaganda, some kind of synthetic telepathy to let the person know, yes, we're hunting you? In the old game called The Running Man, it's an old movie from probably the 1980s with Richard Dawson, who is a game show host called Killian. And the game show was all about hunting humans. And the man's name was Killian because that's what he did. He was the host of a show about killing. Now I'm feeling itch. This is what my tormentors are doing. They're sending me itch. Is it an AI? Is it a computer-generated thing that has no emotions whatsoever? It just continually sends me the feeling of itch, the feeling of intimidation, the feeling of disgust. It's hidden behind a shield. You can't get to it. The nature of the game is, how do I turn off the game? The other movie called The Game was a Michael Douglas film where he was put through a scenario that was supposed to make him paranoid and also kind of feel like he was kind of being chased. He was being herded. Like the Adjustment Bureau movie I was talking about the other day with Matt Damon, and Michael Douglas was being herded, and eventually he came to the point where all the people around him dropped their masks of being nasty, and it was people who knew him, his family, and they put it on. It was a great present for him. Is this a present, what we're experiencing here on planet Earth? Some of us trying really hard to send love to impossible situations, and then experiencing bullies bullying us who are hiding. They're watching us on video screens. They're using satellite to track us. And they're using multitudes of different kinds of weapons. Primarily, the weapons are not designed to kill us, they're designed to torment us, to make our skin itch, to make our bones ache, to make us forget what's going on. Like in Men in Black, when people had witnessed something and the Men in Black didn't want them to remember that what was going on, and they used the little pen that flashed them so they lost their memory. These are the things that I feel like are going on here on the planet. And how do you get to the commanding officers who are not responsible to anyone? It seems they can just go on. There's a word called impunity. In other words, there's no, Skippy wants me to say recourse for me, because I can't get to the commanding officer, and the commanding officer doesn't really report to anyone but no one. It just there's no explanation for the raging bull. And I don't think it's anger that drives these people. It's simply, it's my job 5 days a week. I'm a killer. Do I do it for money? No. I've got a video game. I come to this trailer, and all the video screens are there, and the joysticks are there, and the keyboard's there, and I got the pick list of things I'm going to torment people with. You see that noise that came on? That's not in my room, that's out there. But what does that noise mean? It means some kind of a synchronicity. In other words, I'm getting good information. How does this game end? This game where we're depersonalized, we're dehumanized. All that's left is a bunch of robots walking around robotically. Hi, how are you? There's no caring behind the words, hi, how are you? In other words, you really want to hear what the person's got to say. It's a mechanical thing. It's a bot. It's an AI. There's some examples in Star Trek of artificial intelligences who are just as human as what we think of as a full human. The Doctor and Data on Star Trek. There's other examples in Isaac Asimov's robot series. There's a robot that Daniel Orlikow, or a name like that, a very wise robot that runs based upon the zeroth law of Asimov's laws of robotics, and that is working for the betterment of humanity. Does the robot think that he's part of humanity? Probably yes. But it still brings us back to Skip, the computer operator working on the torment machine, tormenting me, tormenting others. Course in Miracles says it's a cry for love. But how can I love Skip? Skip is unfeeling. He has an emotional body, but he's deadened it. How they deadened it? Well, training. Endless hours of playing simulations where it's just, your job is just to be playing a video game. It's a shoot 'em up, and, they're not going to shoot at you. You're just going to shoot at them. Skip is bored with his job. There's no. Maybe when he was first playing the game, there was a bit of a payoff of, oh, yeah, I shot the enemy. Oh, yeah, I got him, I got him, I got him, I got him. But I see this with people who do hunting for, ducks. The duck hunter. I don't see these hunters thanking the spirit of nature or the spirit of the duck. Thank you. I needed this duck because I'm hungry and I have to feed my family. These hunters don't need to do that. They can buy tofu at the grocery store. They can buy a Greek salad. And then when I see the hunters let the meat spoil, in other words, 6 months later, I'm over at the hunter's house and I open the fridge and I see the frozen carcass of the duck. Why didn't you eat the duck when it was still fresh? Why is it here a frozen thing? It's got freezer burn. The duck is not wrapped in a Ziploc bag to keep it from freezer burn. It's freezer burned. It's useless. So the death of this animal is useless. What is it all about? Normally I would say ego of the hunter. I've seen hunters that didn't find any ducks that day shoot songbirds. What could I do about it? I couldn't do anything about it. All of a sudden I saw the hunter turn and shoot a songbird. I suppose I should have reported them to the government or something. Somebody I saw shot a songbird. I was about 20 years old. I didn't know what to do. It never came into my head to report the person. And then I would have felt like, I don't know, it never came into it. I'm just reflecting on it now. Well, why didn't I get the thought this person should be reported for? They used to say sometime in my past history, I don't know when, but they used to say, young people that hurt animals on purpose are very sick people. They've got major psychological problems. And if there's a child who is found hurting animals, putting burning ends of cigarettes into the animal's skin, this is a sign of a very dangerous person. Because if they'll do this to animals, they'll do this to humans. And I don't know what the therapy is for someone who has no feeling and tortures animals and then goes on to work in the military and tortures humans. Are there private groups that do torture of humans? Oh, yes. The gang culture, where, in order to be indoctrinated, doc. What is a doc? It's what you do to certain kinds of dogs. You dock their tails. Tail docking is where you have a long tail and you cut it off short. Sometimes the ears are cropped. What do they do? Well, they don't like the size of the ears. They want smaller ears. So again, they cut some of the ear off. What happens with circumcision, where you cut off the foreskin of an infant? Did you ask the adult the infant's going to become, did you want this to happen to your physical body? No. Why do you do it to an infant? It was done to me. Why do you mutilate a human? I think it looks better. I don't like the look of a foreskin on a man. So this is my baby. I'm in control of it. It's going to get circumcised. Female circumcisions, it's so that the woman can't have any sexual pleasure. What is going on? What is going on are mental bodies. It's a mental thing. If people say, well, it's an emotional thing. I love my baby. I'm going to get it circumcised. I love my dog. I want it to look right. I want it to look like it says in the pictures of a German Shepherd or whatever kind of dog it is that they crop the tail and they dock the ears. How do you feel if your paycheck has been docked? We're going to dock you a day because we didn't like your work that day. It means you're not going to get paid that day. Docking. Docking sounds like if you've got a boat full of goods and you're going to bring it into the place where the boat goes, next to the shore, docking it. I'm going to dock my boat. I'm going to walk my dog. I'm going to mow the lawn. It's a verb, an action word, and then the object the object is what you're going to do the action on. What are we going to do about Skip? Skip's still here. I can hear Skip. Skip won't talk to me. He torments me. He makes a lot of noises that I can hear, irritating noises, noises that he thinks are going to be irritating. And then Skip plays with, my voice, so I get a skip in my voice, or I misspeak a word. How long has this been going for? Probably as long as I can ever remember. What is the matrix? I can't even say the word matrix. What is the matrix? Natal means birth. I was born into this place. I don't remember my infancy. I don't, Skip wants me to say I remember something from when I was young. One memory of a Fisher-Price toy. Why does Skip want me to do this? Because Skip is controlling. I see Skip as something outside of me that's working to control me. Is Skip a computer that doesn't have any emotions whatsoever? I mean, that's how you could have a mental body without any kind of emotion, any ability to feel. Is Skip one of those little grays? They talk about little grays, the extraterrestrials. They say they're made with biological material, but they've got a computer brain. They don't have any emotional body. So if they're programmed to be nice, they'll be nice to you. If they're programmed to be nasty, they'll be nasty to you. They're just programming. It still doesn't help us deal with little grays that are programmed to be nasty, or AI bots that are, like in the Clone Wars. I was talking about this the other day. In one episode of Star Wars, there was, I guess it wasn't one episode, it was a whole series called The Clone Wars, where there was robot soldiers. And if you stick robot soldiers on the human population, the robots, if they're programmed to kill man, woman, and child, pets, to go and destroy the farmers' fields, so there's nothing left for the humans to eat. This was talked about in, I think it was Ray Kurzweil's book, The Singularity is Near, or some other related book that I was reading around the same time about computers that become incredibly powerful. There was one talk about, well, nanobots, very small bots that reproduce, and they eat all the energy that they're given, and they multiply everywhere. And somehow these nanobots kill off biological life. And it was seen as a huge threat by the author of this book. Skip keeps heavy breathing in my ear. Just because he does. It's the sound that a rapist makes. Heavy breathing. If a rapist has blindfolded you, so you can't see what it is, but you can hear it breathing and kind of swallowing, and you know that it's just applying pain wherever it wants to. Why am I clearing my throat? It's because it's phlegm. Phlegmatic is an old way of looking at personalities. There was melancholy, there was phlegmatic, there might have been one or two others. What is a phlegmatic person? I don't think it means they've got, thick spit in their throat. It means something. Skip wants me to go look it up. Skip always wants me to do something for Skip. Skip wants to make me Skip's slave. Skip always says, what are you going to do about it? This is the nature of Skip. Skip holds all the cards. Skip's got the gun to my head. Skip to my loo.